Okay, hi guys. Today I am doing a review of the Cults of Cthulhu uh, supplement book for Call of Cthulhu RPG 7th edition, obviously. This book I was kind of hesitant to buy. In general, I'm kind of hesitant to buy like RPG supplement books, but okay. But I think Chaosium does a decent job with these for Call of Cthulhu because they pack in a lot into them, and so even if you don't maybe need everything in it, I think there's still something you can get out of it. And since I'm kind of newer to the system, I found it to be pretty good as like the third book. I've got the starter set. I bought that later. I bought the Keeper Manual and the Investigator Handbook. But the this one is a good third one, I think, because you do get a lot of additional enemies. Since I'm mostly being a keeper so far, I think there's a lot of good resources in this. Now, I would say, if you just have the investigator, or not the investigator, but the main rule book, the keeper rule book, you can pretty much run a good either one shot scenario or a good campaign with just this. And but I think the cult book, you get a lot more enemy types and enemies and sample cultists and stuff that will help give you just more things to put into the game. And I would say though that the keeper rule book, it's got enough of a bestiary in it that it's perfectly fine, because I think in Call of Cthulhu, at least my approach is, you don't really want a lot of monsters. In fact, I would say to use them sparingly. That's kind of my approach, is to not use them all the time. It's not like a high fantasy type of game where you kind of want that. And in this book you get let's see, you get like 40 page, no, more than that. You get like 50 pages of 60 pages, yeah. Sorry, historian, can't do math. 60 pages of bestiary, so pretty good, I think. And you get plenty of stuff to use in the game. Artifacts. So, and then you also get like the artifacts is kind of related because it gives you like some of the alien old one kind of tech. I mean, we're going to focus on the cult book, but like I said, if you're newer to the system, I don't think, and you just want one book, I think this one is perfectly fine. But if you want to add more, that's where the cults book comes in, and you get I think you get a nice, let's zoom in a little bit. You get a lot of stuff in here, I think. You get the kind of the background, kind of written like as an in-universe document. Then you get 5 cults. So you get the cult of Elevated Order Morpheus. This is like a gaslight, like 1890s one. But I'm sure you could use it in 1920s if you just adjust some of the characters a little bit. The Louisiana Swamp Cult. So this is the cult that's in the short story, The Call of Cthulhu, that is investigated by Inspector Legros. Society of the Angelic Ones. This one I think was my favorite because it's set in a 1920s Los Angeles. This Esoteric Order of Dagon, that's of course the classic, the Innsmouth people, Shadow over Innsmouth. Then you get the Church of Perfect Science, and this one is like for 1950s, 60s, and probably you could bring it into the modern day. Then you have Creating Your Own Cult. Then you have the different, profiles for different NPCs and enemy characters. And then you get 3 investigations. I'm not really going to focus on the investigations, but they do give you 3, and that's nice. You get this one, which is like a late turn of the 20th century. This one is 1920s, and then you get a modern day one in Chicago. And I was particularly glad that in this one you get a nice Los Angeles map for the 1920s. And this one you get a Chicago map for more contemporary stuff, but it's still nice. I'm sure you could use it reasonably well in a 1920s Chicago game. And you got some appendices with all of the tomes. And then with each of the cults, even though they give you 3 kind of full scenarios, the cult sections, they give you like some other ideas of how to implement them into a game or a campaign. So that was good. But I think my favorite part was this section was the creating a cult and the both chapters 3 and 4. And let me see if I can open it to the right page. So it has some nice notes, and like it brings up a lot of like common sense stuff that I think is good for world building, but it's almost more mundane than that. It's just like keeping in mind that you would have to, these things have to be kind of plausible, right? Like the cult has to have some way of producing income. What are they doing? What are their goals? And you get some nice random tables as well, which I found to be useful. I think random tables in this kind of thing is pretty helpful. So here you get, this is for creating your cult leader, so you can roll on this if you want to. I find that, I think for prepping certain things, these tables are really good because it takes pressure off of you. You can just roll, come up with something, and then, you're good to go. And you get some stat blocks, sample stat blocks. This is another, to determine who the cult leader is. Roll on a d10. And then you have, what is their source of power? That kind of thing. All the stuff that you would need to create it for your players, basically. You can roll to what is their goal. I might start using this seriously because I find this would make it easier to come up with, like a lot easier to come up with scenarios. Everything about a structure, the accounting, the different, kind of the more things you would expect. But if anything, I found that the cult leader sheet and the cult worksheet in this super helpful. So I think in my future games, I'm definitely going to use this because it's just nice to have it on a nice, neat, organized table rather than, like a notebook, just written down in a notebook. And these are the pre-generated ones, different pre-generated ones, but then, you have blank ones. Sorry about that. Okay. Next one, you have the cultists, the monsters and artifacts. This I found also should be pretty useful. Like I said, I don't think, in Call of Cthulhu, you really need a big bestiary. They do publish one, and I'm sure there's others on drive-through, but I think for like most games, I would say between the Keeper rulebook and then if you get this, you should be covered in terms of like the different kind of characters you would need. You know, you have a bunch of different types of cultists. Obviously, not all are the same. Like, you know, you have aristocratic, and then you have criminal, different things like that. So some pretty handy stat blocks for if you're the game master. And then you have these other characters, these deathless masters that are, you know, the immortal kind of bad guys. So, and then you have and then you have the monsters. So, like I said, this is where it kind of fills out some of the maybe missing spots in the main rules, or you know, gives you just a few more options. Black-winged ones, and I think you know, Chaosium does a good job or the writers do a good job where, you know, they always mention that a lot of these, you know, Lovecraft and kind of his successors didn't really like define these, so it's pretty up for interpretation, which I think is good for a tabletop RPG. You know, what do these things need precisely? Then you have these other monsters, the scarlet ones, the Sedekim, I guess. So pretty scary, scary artwork. Yeah, and then the adventures, I'm not going to go into these in too detail. I don't know enough, you know, I feel like I need to run it to make a judgment on it if it's a decent adventure. But they do give you good ideas. So like I said, I think I like the Los Angeles one the best. But I'd rather focus on the maps, because I think even if you don't like the adventures themselves, yeah, here we go. Los Angeles, California, 1922. So that's a nice little addition. There's, you know, and then it's got these inset maps of Venice Beach and Venice of America back then, I guess, and Beverly Hills, and yeah, pretty nice. Yeah. And then get some other, and then these are the other kind of handouts, and then you do get a map of Chicago, which is for the present day adventure. But like I said, I feel like you could use this. Maybe you'd have to, well, obviously in the 1920s there wouldn't be the interstate, so you'd have to find a different map. But I think just for a quick visual reference, you know, you could probably use this in a 1920s game. You just have to say, you know, there's no interstate system, you know, yeah, okay. I think I'm going to wrap this review up here, and I would say, you know, in summary, I think it's a good book. You know, pretty useful. A lot of good stuff in here, yeah, I think definitely good for if you're someone like me who's kind of newer to this game. Pretty good stuff. Like the random tables, the cult sheet, and everything. So pretty happy with this, and hope you found this review helpful. And I will talk to you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.